Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. I bought a camera and I'm gonna make a documentary.
That's exciting. What's your documentary about?
It's gonna be about witchcraft in New Mexico, but it's gonna be to kind of bridge the communication gap between the witchcraft community and the Christian community here, based on some of the threats of violence that were happening a few years ago at Bruja Fest. I know some of these witches, and I don't know why they're scared of them. So there has to be propaganda going on or something that's causing this miscommunication between the two communities where the Christians are either very upset or scared or both.
It sounds like a really important documentary to bring awareness about the subject. I look forward to hearing about it. Best of luck with your project.
Yeah, thank you. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll talk to you later. I wasn't really involved in magic in the same way that a lot of my witchy friends are involved in magic. Like powwow dancers, some of them will put a little bit of pejihota, sage, technically a mugwort, mistranslation. It's a type of mugwort. They'd put it in their moccasins to kind of protect them against intentional or unintentional ill will from other dancers who they may be competing against. And okay, so I do have one story that might be considered magic. I myself was a powwow dancer, and I was around the age where I was looking for a partner. And my uncle, he understood this, and he tells me, he goes, Ryan, on your dance cape, your otter breastplate, you have all these mirrors, right? On one of the mirrors, draw a little elk and draw a trail leading to the elk. And when you're dancing, those mirrors are going to shine, and it's going to catch the eye of somebody, and they're going to want to follow that trail and see what you're all about. If that was magic, am I a bad person? Am I condemned by the entire Christian faith and deserve hate, deserve to be prayed for? I don't know. I don't think I'm a bad person.
Okay, so my name's Toonsley. I'm from here in Albuquerque, and yeah, that's me, Toons. My religion when I was young, when I started, when I was introduced to the concept of God or whatever, it was mixed. I had two different religions. So my father was Catholic, and my mother was a Jehovah's Witness. So they got divorced when I was, I don't know, like 5 years old, something like that. So what my dad would all, like, through the Catholics, I've been confirmed, got the first communion, been confirmed, did the whole step by step, they did all the sacraments that they do. And then my mom on the half the weeks up, because we had half the week there, half the week there. So with my mom, they took us with the Jehovah's Witness and had us do what they call the study. So they'd have people come to the house and they'd sit there and they'd read us out of the Bible and make us read the Bible. Like I remember they used to tell us, we used to have to memorize the books of the Bible, starting from Genesis all the way to Revelations. But we'd have to do it in order and repeat it. Like now, if you would ask me, I can't remember because I just don't care to. But we used to have to do that. And then my fathers at the Catholics, they would go with the nuns and all that stuff at Holy Family Church. And so they would tell us one thing, and the other people would tell us one thing, and both of them would tell us, well, we're right, they're wrong. And they could never agree on anything. And when you asked them like a significant question, they would always say, "Oh, that's that's what God says, so you just have to obey." And it didn't really sit well with me, eh? But yeah, I came from two different really religious sects, eh?
Hi there, I'm Ronnie of Lunar Rabbit Metaphysical. I am a witch and I have my own magic business through which I provide different items and services to the folks around Albuquerque. My early life was chaotic, to say the least. My mother wasn't a part of my life, aside from just trying to use me as a weapon, so to speak. And my dad was 20 and emotionally garbage. He's a fire sign, so yay, sparks and fire. The only real stable part of my life was my grandmother, and she was very Catholic. And, you know, that's fine, power to you, but sitting there praying for Jesus to make life less terrible wasn't really working out. So the kind of beliefs and values that I was raised on was very on the outskirts of Christianity, mainly Catholicism. I was never baptized, so I never did the let's eat humans ritual. And we tried Sunday school at one point, but it wasn't working out. Our favorite example of this was they had an exercise where they had like a picture of some dogs and a picture of the forest. And, I was just sitting there like, puppy, yay! And they were like, no, you should be scared of this. And I'm like, but the forest, the woods, they're so pretty, trees. And they're like, no, you need to be scared. You need to pray to Jesus for strength from all these scary things. And I'm like, but puppy. So we didn't stick with the Catholic school for that long.
Okay, so what got me into witchcraft is I had a homeboy. I'm not going to name his name, but he's one of the most craziest, most intelligent, and craziest people I've met in my life. Okay? So I was probably like 14 years old, and he was probably like 15, 16, maybe. He was just a little bit older, but he was like super, super intelligent, And so he was trying to explain to me, like, how fucking Satanism's not even bad and this and that. And I didn't want to hear it, bro. I was fucking stuck on, oh, you're the devil. I was one of those people, like, when I was a kid, Like, it was bred into me, you know what I mean? So we show up into the Blue Eagle, and it was before Mitch even owned it, It was like way back in the day, Fucking, this is like 92, okay? So, like, in 92, I walk into the Blue Eagle, and I see this lady wearing a pentagram, And I looked at her and I asked her, I was like, why are you wearing the devil's star? I said, you don't seem like you're mean or evil or anything. Why are you wearing the devil's star? I told her, And she looked at me and she wanted to start talking shit. Like she looked at me shocked. And she wanted to start talking shit, and then she just realized, that I'm a kid, and I'm just like curious. And she says, hey, check this out. She goes, it's not the devil's star. It has nothing to do with the devil. It's actually a religious holy symbol. She goes, I'm not going to sit here and argue and try to explain to you what it is, because you probably wouldn't listen anyways. She goes, I'm going to give you a book. She goes, go and read this book, and then if you want to, she goes, you can have it. It's your book. She goes, but if you want to, she goes, just look at it like that's what this is. That's what they tell you it is. That's not what it is. This is what it is. And I was like, all right, bet. And it was True Magic by Amber Kay. Do you know who Amber Kay is, the author? Oh, she's a dope ass author. But she's a really good author. So she's basically breaks down Wicca for you. So this book's a Wicca book. And it's talking about the elements and the seeing change and the will of the year and you know what I mean? And I was like, all right, yeah. So I started like reading it, And then so I'm a curious person by nature, and all the answers that I wanted to know, that I've asked all these religious fucking people, the priest, the nun, the elders, all that stuff, the fucking brothers over there at the Jehovah's Witnesses, and boom. None of them would answer me. I go to this store and this lady hands me a book, and half the shit that I wanted to know in the first place is in this book.
My name's Kat Allen, and I was a military brat, so I'm not really from anywhere specifically. My mom was born and raised in Iran, and my dad was in the military, career military, so he met her while he was abroad, and she became a military wife, traveled around. So we traveled. I thought that was great. Got to see Europe and go to Greece and, world traveler. And then we settled here in New Mexico. One of the times that I was in California, I was visiting some family, and my friend's mom had an altar to earth magic, and I was really intrigued by it. And she had like a garden outside with a bunch of phalluses in it, but I was really just intrigued by her, everything about her. And that was just like kind of one of my first times experiencing magic and like witchcraft, or a witch, someone that was like Wiccan. And she taught me a spell, which I thought was really cool. It was like a protection spell, and it was like broken glass and nails and urine and an article of like something the person gave you that you were wanting protection against. And then you'd bury it, and I always remembered that. I was probably, I don't know, 8 or 10. And then later on, I was in Old Town, and sometimes I wouldn't have school and I'd have to go to work with my mom. And she would let me go walk around in Old Town by myself, and there was a shop called Earth Magic. And I walked in there on my birthday and walked around and looked at all the crystals and the candles and things. And there were these, there was an amethyst crystal on the shelf. And I didn't know anything about astrology until I was older. But there was an amethyst crystal, and I knew that amethyst was like my birthstone. And I picked it up, and the clerk was like, "Oh yeah, you can have that." And it was just such a intense crystal, like such a dark amethyst, almost black. And that, it just drew me in even more. Like I felt this connection to it, and then, started dabbling in like earth magic and elemental magic. And then started moving into herbology later on.
I think that there were several things that kind of led me in the direction of magic and witchcraft. As a kid, my hyperfixation was rocks. Just go pick them all up. They're all so pretty and shiny. And that kind of translated to my crystal business nowadays. But kind of as per that original, is praying to Jesus wasn't making life any easier. So around 12, 13, I was like, well, what else is there? Decided complete opposite end of the end of the spectrum. Let's look at Satan. It's like same issue. Like you're still going in with the core ideas that God is a thing, that Jesus is a thing, and that you just don't want to be a part of it. So it was kind of just like two sides of the same coin. It never really fit well. And deep cut for all those fucking 2000s kids is there is a Scooby-Doo movie in which they go to like pilgrim lands and they have to deal with the ghost of an old witch, and one of the hex girls was Wiccan. So I was like, hey, there's this weird obscure thing that pretty goth chick in Scooby-Doo was. Let's look into that. Then it kind of just evolved into this.
So we would go to church on Sunday, and I would listen, and I started listening to the message, and I tried to start really getting the message. What was the most powerful thing? And the most powerful message I ever got was from a Franciscan friar that came as a guest and preached and spoke on Christmas Day. For years, I dreaded going to church on Christmas with my family because the priest would always talk. He would always use the passage about snakes in Genesis, how the snake will strike at your heels and you will crush the snake's head under your own heel. And that passage always sat very wrong with me, because to me it's almost like driving the snakes out of Ireland. It's a direct attack on the old magic, and also like the snake offering Eve knowledge, and it's the knowledge and the power of creation, of the healing arts. And so then I started picking apart the message of the church, and taking out the stuff that the gay bashing and the all the hate, all the message of hate, and distilling it into this pure, like, okay, you're supposed to love, you're supposed to forgive, you're supposed to turn the other cheek, you're supposed to live by example. If you want to show someone how to be it. Go to church, we'd come home, and we would make Turkish coffee, which is also part of the Persian tradition. And my mom and my aunt would read the grounds. So every Sunday we would have this Catholic Christian experience, and then turn around and have this pagan experience on the same day. The cups are like this. So you make the coffee, you put it in it. It's very thick. It has like a sludge at the bottom. And you drink it, and then when you get to the bottom, you put the saucer on top. And you put your thumbs on top of the saucer, and you turn it over towards yourself. And then you let it dry. And after it dries, it makes pictures, letters, numbers, sometimes even words inside of the cup. And I interpret them. And I learned from my mother, who learned from her mother, who learned from her mother, who learned from a gypsy lady years ago.
So there were a lot of threads on the social media in particular, just Christians being like, I can't believe they're doing something like that, bringing this into our holy sacred town. It's like, they were trying to use magic against us, praying for another. Okay, I think I should go first into the definition of white magic versus black magic, at least as I see it. So, say you were to make a spell for love. In media, a lot of how it's portrayed is that person, they need to love me right now. That's black magic, because you're saying this person, regardless of their will, regardless of what they want, they shall obey my will. And that's bad magic. The way to properly do a love spell with white magic is, I desire love in my life. I desire people who care for me, who love me, and bringing the people who would have already cared for you or loved you, like upping their timing of meeting, so to speak. It's not changing what anybody feels, it's just bringing them into your life faster. And so in the end, it's all about consent. It's about doing things that align with what another person wants. And so even a healing spell, even if you're trying to help somebody with their disease or after an accident, if they don't want that magic, that's dark magic. And the way that they were using their prayer that day, that was dark prayer.
They can pray at home. They can pray in their hearts. They don't have to make a scene. I don't think that's what Christ would have wanted, especially since, the pagan and Wiccan community is, and Native American and, alternative religions don't seek to harm. They seek, what I see is mostly self-understanding and healing.
Every now and then there's Christians that'll come up to my booth and just be like, hey, can I have my child pray for you? And then a poor 5-year-old doesn't know what's happening, is just put on the spot to start praying for these two random people he never met. So I'll definitely attract people who think I need Jesus. And I assure them, like, honey, I love Jesus. I have no problem with Jesus. It's his cult that is the issue.
I've been doing this shit since I was a kid, like legitimately, like fucking actually like moving. And I've done some different things, for like the movement, But when I was a kid, bro, no matter where I went, in the South Valley of Albuquerque, bro, I was that devil worshiper kid, just because I wore a pentagram, And I would get in fights, bro. People would jump me, I would like go through it, Like, you don't understand, I was from a hood and everything, bro. Like, back in the day in fucking the 90s in the South Valley, bro, it was really fucking violent, bro. And I literally, fucking fought, for like witchcraft and paganism and fucking things like that. I quit explaining to people for the longest time, like what it was, because all they said is, oh, you're the devil worshiper, oh, you're the devil worshiper, fuck all that shit, But yeah, like nowadays, you don't, like, this generation has never actually experienced the extreme that it actually went to, And like a lot of people like dealt with some fucked up shit, like way back in the day. People that were doing witchcraft and stuff like that, they were like really fucking fucked with, And like now these days, like people feel like, oh yeah, they're threatening by, like you said it earlier, People are threatening violence. They weren't threatening violence back then. They were actually doing things. That was back in the day when they were doing like fucking they were persecuted. They were going after like the gay people too, They used to call it fag bashing, They would go fucking jump them and shit like that, And they'd fucking do the same thing, to the fucking pagans and the devil worshippers and the fucking, because if you were any kind of thing, that wasn't Christian, you were a devil worshipper, So. But I did some other stuff, for like the witchcraft movement too. I went to prison for like a while, because like I said, I was young and I was a gangbanger. But in the federal system, they used to fucking kind of hate on the fucking religion too, So I got it, to where fucking we pulled some legal shit, to where they legally had to get us, candles and sage and fucking everything except for like the atomies and books, that were like on like fucking, that had like curses and shit in them, We couldn't get those. We could only get like the legitimate ones and shit like that, So, but we started a movement in the federal prison system, and fucking got like a whole bunch of fucking pagans, their fucking supplies they need, to practice their craft, It's not witchcraft stuff, but if you follow me on Cooking with the Homeboy, at Cooking with the Homeboy, on any platforms like fucking Facebook, YouTube, we got a good show going on, but please I'm all storm. But please be sure to check us out, around town, in our food truck, at Cooking with the Homeboy, Find us, we'll show you where we're at, We cook bomb ass food, fucking at a good price, You'll get your ass full, for a good price,
Magic is not a dark thing, and it is completely compatible with Christianity. You can work with Jesus, you can work with God and the Holy Spirit, or even the saints if you're one of those crazy Catholics like us. Like, there's nothing about witchcraft that says you have to follow Odin or you have to follow Zeus. Like, it's, the gods are whomever you want it to be. It's not theistic. It's about love and working with your love. And yeah, no, there's no God that rules that. You're the God that rules that.
My grandpa, on my dad's side, is Pennsylvania Dutch, or Deutsch, German. And the Germans there in Pennsylvania have a lineage of folk magic called Braucherei. And with any living folk magic tradition, it's wearing a mask of Christianity with old world thinking, a very sympathetic magic way of thinking. And they use the Bible as almost like a spell book. And there's one verse in particular which is used all over Appalachia. And I think it's Ezekiel 16:6. It's used to stop bleeding. Now, is that a prayer? Is that magic? Where's that line? Is there a line? Or is it cultural bias?
It's surprising what a lot of what a lot in the modern world we don't call magic, but really is. Like, even just Christians getting sit down, stand up, sit down, get on your knees, all of that stuff, all of that ritual. That's what it is. It's ritual. Prayer is a type of meditation magic. Like, there is so much magic around that people just don't see as that because it's never been taught to them through that lens.
You know, I want to mention that I do a lot with water magic as well. Like, people have candles, like the Catholics burn candles for prayer. I have a water altar. So as we live in the desert, as the water evaporates, so does my prayers. So the water holds the prayer and it evaporates back into the ethos, into, you know, the water that rains down, and my intentions are dispersed. You know, the Christians use water as magic as well. They use water to cleanse the mortal sin from our children. And, you know, you're baptized into this religion that, you know, you supposedly won't go to hell. Now, I don't necessarily believe in hell in the Catholic sense of it, because I think I believe in like a oneness. Like, we are all a part of God. We're all a part of the universe, and the universe is God. It's creation. And then, you know, I've always been taught that religion is kind of like a diamond, that there are many facets of that diamond, and they're all reflecting back the light of this power, this energy of this source, or God, whatever you want to call it, the universe. And I think that for Christians, you know, it's all about Christ. It's all about believing that Christ is God. But I believe, you know, I don't have a problem believing that. I believe you are God, and I am God, and Christ was God. And what I take from those teachings is, you know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do good. Be good to one another. But to me, there are passages in the Bible that say that God intended for us to use the earth and all of the grains and all of the plants and all of the animals, and that we were the shepherds of the earth, that we were the keepers of the earth, but that everything here is for us in one capacity or another. And yes, there are poisons, and, you know, anything can be bad if it's too much, but if you draw strength from ritual, what makes it any different than drawing strength from Catholic Mass or going and hearing a preacher speak? If you're speaking a message that is like truly love, you would never attack someone else's religion. So, you know, being Christian and a witch, or, you know, witch doctor, there definitely was a divide in me for many years. Like, I had a split until I accepted them both. If I tried to just be Christian, something was missing, and if I tried to just be pagan, something was missing. So I had to honor both sides of my heritage and traditions. And I feel like it's okay to be both, and that's my message to Christians, is if you know, drink teas or take medicines to heal yourself, you are practicing witchcraft. If you participate in Catholic Mass, you are practicing a form of witchcraft. Even if you don't call it witchcraft, it's ritual. It's still incantations are spoken. You know, there's a moment where there's a very powerful and holy moment when the Eucharist is changed into Christ's body, and true Catholics believe that is Christ's body, and the wine is his blood. That is a ritual. That's my favorite part of Catholic Mass, is the ritual. And for, you know, anything that gives you strength, anything that makes you want to be a good person, shouldn't be attacked.
I think part of what makes Christians hesitant to see what they do as magic is because of the separation. Magic is something that you do within yourself. It can have a god, you can work with the divine, but it's a power from within. And that's a big no-no. You're not allowed to have strength, you're not allowed to have power, you have to ask Jesus for that. And so the idea that you are just as divine or just as awesome as your God is horrifying to them.
See, to me, do you know what I believe is? Do you know what I believe? This is in fucking years and years of study and looking at it from a religious point of view, and from a fucking historical point of view, I came to the conclusion of one thing, To me, religion is that tree right there, okay? So that tree right there is the one thing, that's connected to everything, no matter what it is, Those branches are the different fucking people, the different religions of the world, bro.
When I asked my mom, what religion is right? Are the Jews right? Are the Muslims right? Are the Christians right? And she told me, there's more than one way to get to Shemron. Shemron was a city. We're all going a different way, we're getting to the same place. That's how I think of it with my pagan brothers and sisters. If we're on the path to the same place, then, then we shouldn't bicker, we shouldn't fight, we shouldn't have hate in our hearts. That's not representing the true Christian religion. The true Christian religion seeks to understand, seeks to lead by example. I can show you that I'm a good Christian by being a good Christian. And saying, okay, well, there's been really bad Christians and Catholics that have killed in the name of Christ. And those people have given us a bad name.
I mean, magic all comes down to crafting. It all comes down to creation. So whatever I make, whether it's jewelry for others, whether it's food or dessert for a potluck for all of my close friends, or something to keep somebody warm, it is my energy, my time going into this thing and then sending it out.
I make jewelry, and I raise these roosters for their feathers. They're my favorites. I love birds, especially roosters. They're really misunderstood. And rooster magic is a symbol of the triumph of good over evil, of light over the dark. The rooster beckons the sun each morning. So when I hear my roosters crow, I know that everything is okay in the universe.
Similar to what we were discussing earlier, of trying to put a little bit of your own intention, spirit, various practices uses different things for it. Another part I always liked with crafting things is imperfections. Because if you make something perfect, it can't ever be improved. If you have some kind of, I missed a stitch here, I carved this thing a little too far on that side, or for beadwork stuff, you accidentally added the wrong color in somewhere, it makes it have a unique, this is its own thing. And it just kind of gives itself its own life and personality to it.
Okay.
What's going on?
Apparently some kids want to do our yard work.
Do our yard work?
Yeah. Which, free child labor.
Yeah, let's get some free child labor footage at the witch's house.
Are you gonna do it?
Check with Ronnie.
$10?
$10.
Sure.
I don't know what long yard work we want,
But yeah.
There's your wagon. They clean up all the weeds. It's my wizard staff. His name is Bernard.
Naturally grown, delicious, extremely sour. But pomegranates are very sacred to Persephone. And In the Greek-Roman mythos, she is queen of the underworld. She ate 6 pomegranate seeds after almost starving, and because of that, she has to stay in the underworld for 6 months out of the year. And that's why we have our seasons, because her mother, Demeter, she controls the plants and the harvest and basically life and growth. And she would get very sad because her daughter, the goddess of springtime, wasn't with her. So that's kind of why we have fall and winter, because Persephone goes to the underworld.
For magical tools, I've done the fancy things of runes, of the Elder Futhar, more of a Viking-ish traditions, in bone, glass, stone. Got some glass ones. I found Colbrin. These are all generally used for divination. I want to make a set with the tarot in stone, because that would be awesome at some point. There are still ones. But yeah, I've carved various things. I add my energy into it in both as much and as little as possible. Because my main thing is I make things for other people. I charge them with as much neutral energy, I guess I could call it. Just, hey, you're gonna go to a good home. Hopefully they're gonna use you well. And just making things to help other people find their way through this world.
The man is my great-granddad, and he was a fairy. If you sent a picture of a flower to him, he would just be like, I know that, that's a dahlia, or that's a marigold, or that's a whatever. Like, he knew every plant imaginable. And he passed away 2019, I believe. And I would see him intermittently in my dreams. And so at one point, I had a dream where I was at the house that I was with my grandmother and my granddad, and the two of them were in the kitchen just doing house stuff. And my great-granddad was there. He was looking at them and just watching them do whatever work it was they were doing in the kitchen. And so I was like, hey, you know, why don't we go? Like, I put my hand on his back, like, let's let them do their things. They're busy. They don't really see you. And so I led him out of the house and around the property to this little split that was like a side path to the other street. It wasn't like a full street. It was a walking path. And so I led him over there, and partway through the path, it was just light. And so I decided to go and look when I woke up and see what happened. I saw him there, and I found this sticker, and hummingbirds were his favorite animal. And then not long afterwards, I encountered this tarot deck over here, the Botanica tarot deck of flowers. And so I knew it was a deck that was going to speak in his voice. I'm going to demonstrate the creation of a spell jar. It's a product that I sell quite regularly in my business. So you start with a jar, however big or however small. And let's get this candle going for the start. And so the one that I'm going to be working on at the moment is going to be protection, because it seems like the easiest at the moment. So I take some sage that I grew in the backyard and just shove it on in there. Some crystal chips from various rocks that I've broken. And these ones are dark crystals. I believe these are all black tourmaline. The black stones are the ones that are the most protective because they absorb all that negative energy and they keep it away from you. And so just in the jar they go. I've got other various plants. This one in particular is salt cedar, salt being a very protective item. And it grows invasively around New Mexico, so I am not going to feel bad about harvesting it. Throw in some normal salt. Some basil, because why not? It's always nice when you can get your herbs at the grocery store. I've got some thistle that I had growing in my backyard. Sharp things, thorns, thistles are really good for protection, and as well as salt because of that negative banishing energy. Some rosemary because it's just a good booster. Rosemary is kind of like a universal. If you need it to do something, it will do it. And for the most part, this process is all about what feels good. Like there's hundreds of plants that can represent protection that could go into a spell jar. These are just the things that I have on hand. Some eggshells, because very similar idea to salt. It's got those same kind of properties, but if you're doing work outside and in nature, you don't really want to use salt because salt can, it poisons the ground. You can't have things grow in dirt that's been heavily salted. And then after getting it all together and in a bottle, you just seal it up with some wax. Seal it up, get all the corners nice and good, and then you got a spell jar. And then yeah, Lunar Rabbit Metaphysical on Instagram and Facebook and all over New Mexico.
You want to introduce her?
Oh yeah, this is Leela. She's my Cyclops. Just put me down. She was born like this. It's kind of dusty, but here's a little like chicken altar, little like, this one's love, this one's money. Just, you know, it's gotten a little dirty, but yeah, I'm a dust witch. This is just fairy dust. I have my Halloween altar over here. It's got my quail egg candles.
What is that used for?
These are altar candles, so they're basically for prayers and intentions. It's beeswax from the bees that I raised, and then a quail egg from quail that I also raised, and then it's sitting on a little bed of sand and salt. And they're just for the death season. We're celebrating the death season, and I find that the more that I celebrate death during this season, the easier it is to get through the winter. Of the herbal magic that I make, we call it snake oil. And it's a salve. It doesn't actually have snake oil in it. Oil of snake is from snakes. And it's a really great liniment too, but that one's just herbal. Well, I make tea, and I make my own blend of teas. This one's called Peacock Potion. It changes colors. My company is called Psychic Armory. I'm a little low tech, so I'm not really like out there online too much, but you can find me at festivals.
So before I left Ronnie and Goat's house, they invited me to an actual witch's fire on the full moon. It is now the full moon, so that's where we're headed. Let's go, folks. That's so cheesy. That's so cheesy. I'm not gonna get driving footage. That's not safe. But we are gonna go on a road trip. Let's go. What are we doing with the markers?
We are writing a word or phrase on the bay leaf that will be burned in the cauldron.
Very close to the edge because of all the...
I should have brought tongs. I apologize. Timothy, is this the water? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, since Hygeia is seen with a snake and a bull feeding her, but she's into cleanliness. So we are going to dip our hands into the water and brush, like, spurge it away. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So you're cleansing yourself, you're releasing.
Yes, we burned the bay leaf. After you wrote on it something negative you want to release out of your life or thoughts.
You've got a great little thing. Just kidding. Oops.
And would you like to pray?
Very good. So let's start.
We bless ourselves when we nourish our bodies and each other. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
May you never hunger. Zaza, may you never hunger.
Did you want to
So-
do the...
Take a cake and pass them down with "May you never hunger."
Did you
And
want,
yeah, we can
you
start
want to
that
bless?
too.
You want to bless the mead?
Yeah, we can start that up too.
You want me to bring it?
May you never hunger.
Is that one
It's
of
kinda crumbly.
Hygeia's fruits?
Oh, is this banana?
I think it is. Brigitte, what is the cake's?
Pumpkin.
Oh,
Pumpkin.
okay.
We just gotta watch that because allergy.
Got it.
May you never hunger.
May you never thirst anyways. May you never thirst.
May you never thirst.
May you never thirst.
May you never thirst.
O divine Asclepius, God of healing and medicine, son of Apollo, we thank you for joining us in our rite tonight. We appreciate your gentlest energy and lessons around our health and ensuring the health of our loved ones too. Stay if you will, go if you must. I bid you with a kiss as you go back to your healing realms. Hail and farewell. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Yay! Huzzah! Woohoo! Now potluck.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye,
Yeah, you're
everybody.
welcome to stay if y'all have food and want to partake with us. Anyone who wants to stay.
Should I bring you into the kitchen?
We're resilient. Regardless of what happens politically in the world, whatever, we're resilient. We're witches. And so may we never forget that.